In the 4th century BC, much of the known world lived under the shadow of the Persian Empire. To the east stood the Persians, to the west the Greek city-states, and between them rose a small kingdom, Macedon. At the center of that kingdom was a young prince, Alexander. From an early age, it was clear that he was no ordinary child. One day, a wild horse was brought to the royal court. The animal was so fierce that no one could control it. Generals failed, soldiers failed. Finally, the young Alexander stepped forward. The crowd laughed, but Alexander noticed something others had missed. The horse was afraid. It was frightened by its own shadow. He turned the animal toward the sun. The horse calmed down. Alexander mounted it and rode across the field. Before everyone's eyes, he named it Bucephalus. Together, they would go on to conquer half the known world. A saying attributed to his father, Philip II, would later become famous. "My son, find a kingdom large enough for your ambitions. Macedon is too small for you." No one knows whether those exact words were ever spoken, but history suggests they may have been true. After Philip was assassinated, Alexander became king at just 20 years old. Overnight, he went from prince to ruler, but on the day he took the throne, many asked the same question: could this young man really lead a kingdom? Alexander did not answer with words. He answered with action. He crushed rebellions, secured his power, and then turned his attention toward the most powerful empire on earth, Persia at the time. The Persian Empire seemed unbeatable. Yet, in 334 BC, Alexander crossed into Asia with his army. It was more than a military campaign. It was one of history's greatest gambles. If he failed, he would lose everything. The first major clash came at the Granicus River. Alexander personally charged into the most dangerous part of the battle. At one point, a Persian warrior came within moments of killing him. Only the intervention of a companion saved his life. Some historians later suggested that the course of history may have changed by only a few inches that day. Victories followed one after another. Eventually, Alexander came face to face with King Darius III. Two rulers, two armies, one destiny. At the Battle of Issus, the Persian army collapsed. Darius fled, leaving behind his family, his mother, his wife, his children. Alexander took them prisoner, but instead of treating them harshly, he showed them respect. Even many of his enemies admired the decision. He then marched south into Egypt. By capturing Egypt, Alexander deprived Persia of key ports and secured his position in the region. Many Egyptians were already unhappy under Persian rule. Instead of seeing Alexander as an invader, many welcomed him as a liberator. He respected local traditions, accepted the title of pharaoh, and gained the support of the people. Seeking divine legitimacy, Alexander traveled deep into the desert to visit the famous oracle at Siwa Oasis. There, he sought confirmation that he was the son of the god Amun. No one knows exactly what was said inside the temple, but the experience appears to have changed him. At the mouth of the Nile, he also founded a new city, Alexandria. It would later become one of the greatest centers of trade, learning, and culture in the ancient world. As his victories increased, Alexander himself began to change. Since childhood, he had admired Achilles, It is said that he carried a copy of Homer's Iliad with him. When he reached Troy, he even visited the legendary hero's tomb. Some saw it as a tribute. Others believed Alexander had begun to see himself as something more than a man. The events in Egypt only strengthened that belief. After leaving the oracle at Siwa, he no longer seemed content with being remembered as a king. He began to see himself as part of a divine destiny. Many of his soldiers grew uneasy. They still saw the same man they had followed for years, but Alexander no longer saw himself as ordinary. Yet the greatest confrontation still lay ahead. Gaugamela. Many historians consider it one of the most important battles of the ancient world. On the plains near modern-day Erbil in Iraq, Alexander faced Darius one final time. Battles are not always won by numbers. They are won by decisions. During the battle, Alexander spotted a weakness in the Persian line. Leading his cavalry, he drove directly toward Darius in a bold maneuver that changed the course of the fight. As panic spread through the Persian ranks, Darius fled the battlefield. The Persian army broke, and the Persian Empire collapsed. Alexander now controlled much of Asia, but victory did not satisfy him. He always wanted more. The change became painfully clear in an incident involving one of his closest friends, Clytus, the same man who had once saved Alexander's life at Granicus. During a banquet, an argument broke out. Fueled by anger and alcohol, the dispute escalated. Alexander lost control. He seized a spear and killed the friend who had once saved him. The shock devastated him. Some accounts claim he refused food and isolated himself for days. He had become one of the most powerful men in the world. Yet, for the first time, he was forced to confront the cost of his own ambition. Still, he pushed onward, across deserts, across mountains, across rivers, until he reached lands few Greeks had ever imagined. India. Between 327 and 325 BC, Alexander launched his campaign into the east. Crossing the Khyber Pass, his army entered the Indus Valley and encountered fierce resistance. There, he faced King Porus at the Battle of the Hydaspes River. It would become one of the most difficult battles of his career. Under heavy rain, Alexander secretly moved his forces across the river and attacked from an unexpected direction. But another challenge awaited them: war elephants. The Macedonians had never faced creatures like these before. To many soldiers, they seemed like monsters sent into battle. Men were crushed beneath their feet. Others were thrown through the air. The psychological impact was enormous. Despite the chaos, Alexander won the battle. Impressed by Porus's courage, he allowed the defeated king to continue ruling as a regional governor. Near the battlefield, Alexander founded new cities. One was named in honor of his beloved horse, Bucephalus, who had died during the campaign. But years of war had taken their toll. The soldiers were exhausted. The endless marches, the monsoon rains, the constant demand to push farther east. Eventually, at the Hyphasis River, they refused to go any farther. For the first time, Alexander heard the word no. The man who had conquered half the world could not persuade his own army. Reluctantly, he turned back. The return journey was brutal. Alexander was seriously wounded during a siege against the Malians at one point. He reportedly leaped into an enemy's stronghold ahead of his men and nearly died. But once again, He survived. After years of campaigning, he finally returned toward Babylon. Without realizing it, he was doing more than conquering cities. He was reshaping cultures. As Greek influence spread across the East, Eastern ideas began flowing back toward the West. Historians would later call this era the Hellenistic Age, but the final battle awaiting Alexander would not be fought against an enemy. Shortly after returning to Babylon, he became ill. Days passed. His condition worsened. In 323 BC, Alexander died at the age of 32. The exact cause remains unknown. Typhoid fever, malaria, West Nile virus, poisoning. Theories continue to this day. According to legend, someone asked him a final question: who would inherit the empire? His answer is said to have been, "to the strongest." Whether he actually said those words remains uncertain. What happened next is not. Without a clear heir, his generals turned against one another. The empire fractured, and decades of conflict followed. Yet one mystery remains unsolved. No one knows where Alexander's tomb is. For centuries, people have searched for it. Many claim to have found it. None have proven it. The final resting place of the man who conquered half the world remains a mystery. Perhaps that is why his legend never truly ended. Some people do more than change their own time. They shape centuries. More than 2,000 years later, Alexander's name is still remembered across the world as a king, a conqueror, and one of the greatest military minds in history. His name was Alexander the Great. Yet, his legend lives on. If you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for more legends, mysteries, and forgotten stories. Until next time.